the teams I'm leading, they get a little piece of every great accomplishment that the university does, because the university's people are using the tools that my teams have built and maintain and fix when they break. And so every research discovery was made using systems my teams deploy. And I just think that's really cool, because it's like we get a little piece of everything that way, which is, I don't know, I just find it rewarding. All the services are these days, but the Navy's in particular are a very technical service. There's lots of gear and computers and all kinds of technology everywhere. And so I think probably where I got experience there that was applicable was you're managing teams of technical people when you're a leader in the Navy, and that's true. Been true at the university too. And you're also managing teams who know far more about their tech than you do, which is also another feature of being an IT manager, is that as you advance, you're no longer doing the stuff, right? There and the teams that work below you are know way more about that stuff than you do, but you still need to be able to communicate with them and help them solve problems. And so I think that the Navy prepped me for that by putting me in charge of teams of technical people who knew their business way better than I did. We're in often cases, especially at the beginning, we're in the Navy much longer than me. And, so being able to navigate that situation, and, utilize their expertise and build teams around it, and, respect their expertise and what they bring to the table, and then identifying what you can do to maximize those results, and remove barriers. I mean, I think the idea of service is something that runs between my, military service and my job at the university. I think I view them both as both serving, and that's, I talked a little bit about that earlier, about how I really like the mission of the university. You feel like you're serving a greater cause. You're on the good side of things. You're fighting for the good teams on both. The military is very focused on developing its people. And so that's something I think that I learned in the military that's served me well in my job at the university. Is people tend to think, people who have no military experience tend to think that the military is a place where officers bark orders and then the enlisted folks run around and execute them as fast as they can. But in reality, the military spends a lot of time teaching both enlisted and officers about leadership, true leadership, and how to inspire and motivate people, and how to value people, because that's the way you get the best results. The double-edged sword, right? Like running services like my teams do for like Wi-Fi, for example. There's a lot of pressure, because especially these days, Wi-Fi is not some optional nice to have thing. The business of the university stops without the Wi-Fi. Students, so many of these students are still attending classes remotely from their dorm rooms. If the Wi-Fi doesn't work, they can't go to class. They can't take tests. They can't do the research. They can't turn in assignments. They can't. I mean, it is a big deal if the Wi-Fi doesn't work. And so, on the rare occasions that something goes wrong and it breaks, those aren't particularly fun days, and you feel a lot of that pressure because, in other areas of networking, other than Wi-Fi, there are situations where months of experimental data would be at risk if the network doesn't get fixed within some period of time. And that creates a lot of pressure. And, when things are going wrong, it's not particularly fun. That's the one side of the IT sword, right? And that's why I say pressure kind of comes along with IT, because you're running services that people depend on to do their job and to do important things. And so that's why the pressure is built in but the other side of that is that pressure is there because what you're doing matters. And so that can create a huge amount of job satisfaction if you remember that, is that it is highly rewarding to work on something that matters a lot. And it's when I walk around campus, and I was on campus a few days ago, and it was just sort of heartwarming to look around and see all of these students using the services that my teams build and maintain and design and fix. And it's like we're a part of all of that activity. We walk past the student lounge, and there's or student groups. You'll see a group of students sitting around a table with their laptops open, working on something. And I know they're using the Wi-Fi that my team, provides. And, we're completely invisible to them. And that's probably the way we like it, right? They have no idea what it takes to make that happen. But there they are, just studying and collaborating and learning and growing up and all that. And it's highly rewarding to be part of that. But the other side of that sword is that when things go wrong, there's a lot of pressure. And so it's sort of like, the phrase, well, that's life in the big leagues, right? It's, being in IT, if you want to work on services that matter, then there's going to be the pressure to deliver because they matter.